Gonna shape up.
That's right. To the 2023 organizational and regular town board meeting. John, I think might be, I don't know who's on, so John might be on there, but he's not here tonight. He had some stuff he needed to take care of, so I'll be running the meeting. And if he's there, he can chime in if he's got something that he needs to say or whatever. So let's, I'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Okay. I guess we'll start right out with who's got the public hearing for the short-term rental regulations. We did that a couple of months ago. We're holding it open. If anybody's got any comments or wants to speak on it, we'll give you an opportunity to do that. If not, the thing will remain open probably until the May meeting, I would say at the very least, so that everybody has a chance to comment and give their thoughts. Anybody got any thoughts? Okay. The comments are listed. What do we have so far? Do we have any letters or anything?
No.
We have comments. The first month, there was comments that would be available in the minutes or in the recordings, but there hasn't been any correspondence that I know of, right?
No.
So. And anybody listening online can send in correspondence if they would like. Okay, minutes review. We have minutes from the 12-13 meeting. And they're attached. Does anybody have any changes, thoughts to give to the clerk on the minutes? George?
Just maybe correct, you're considered right now a deputy supervisor, right?
I'm considered the deputy supervisor, yes.
It just seems, when you look at it, it says, you will have Councilman Schmidt act as a deputy supervisor. You're always a deputy supervisor, so that makes it seem like for the Cliff project, you're only gonna act as a deputy supervisor. Unless he's saying you're gonna act as a supervisor in his behalf, handling that project. The language doesn't, it makes it confusing saying that you're gonna be acting as a deputy supervisor when you're always a deputy supervisor.
Yeah, well, I'm always the deputy supervisor, and I think what he's trying to get at is that if there's something that he's not gonna be handling in there, or if he wants to get taken out of the middle of it, that he will have me handle it.
No, I get
Yeah,
that, but
yeah,
it's just,
yeah.
it's just the way it's worded, probably could have been cleaner,
Yeah.
that's all.
Any other comments about the minutes? And as we learned a long time ago, these are the clerk's minutes. And, so we don't have to vote on them, but, she will take input. So that brings us to public comment. Anybody got any public comment? We have 2 public comments. This is the first.
So there
Got
are
it.
several of us, 4 of us here that are involved in the Inlet Area Community Task Force. So we just wanted to, check in with everybody here and let you know where we are and see about getting a little bit more involvement. So Amy and certainly Adele have been great. We appreciate their being town employees and also part of this group. They've been both very, very helpful. And, Chris certainly is, and with the school, and everything, has been very involved in everything that we've been doing. And we've got the grow towers. If anybody wants to stop by at any time, let us know. But we've got 6 grow towers over at the school going now. And we have, had the garden for the last couple of years. We have farm stand coming every Tuesday from 3 to 6. We have the trout tank working, and we will be having very soon, right, Julie, some mushrooms growing in the basement. was kind of. So anyway, we've got a lot of things rolling and, I think some of our focuses, and feel free to jump in. Some of our focuses are certainly, the fact that food, we are considered a food desert here. And for people to be able to get involved in creating their own food is one of our priorities. And also education, we've been doing classes and presentations. We did 2 presentations on different sources of energy last year. We're talking about doing one on March 22nd with different heating systems, and also maybe we're working on getting some solar information together. The other thing we see as part of this program is socialization. We've had people coming together to work on projects, and that's been great. And we're hopefully getting a few more people, and we're going to encourage other people to become involved with this project. Like I said, we have been looking at different kinds of energy. We've been trying to identify different challenges that we have in our area. And one of the things that you mentioned was the short-term rentals and how that has affected us. And certainly the fact that the weather isn't actually very cooperative right now, and it makes things a little bit unstable in our area. So those are things that we all have to think about how we can cope with that. We want to try to keep the community from shrinking or becoming all rental, short-term or seasonal destinations that are completely dependent on the weather. I was telling, I think both you and, because years ago, went to something that was called the Lights Out Seminar, and I don't know if anybody remembers this. It had to be 8 or 10 years ago, but I think it was in Old Forge. And they were talking about how it used to be. We had lots of people from like Rochester, Syracuse that were here all the time. You know, their families came up and it was generation after generation. And you'd always see lights across the lake or in town. And it's very different now. People are coming in and buying places, and they're here for short periods of time, and sometimes even, you know, like Kim Egenhofer was telling me about somebody that was here and they rented a boat, their boat, or had their boat out, and after 4th of July weekend, they were done and off they went. And this may be one of 3 or 4 places that they own somewhere in the country. So it creates a problem with supporting the community. So these are all things that we're taking a look at. Tomorrow, we're having a day-long, see how long it goes. But, you know, just kind of strategizing and trying to figure out what are the most important things and how to address them. Because there's so many, I always describe our task force as kind of an octopus in the sense that it keeps growing. It's like, well, all right, what do we need to focus on? But if anybody would like to stop by and attend or be a part of that, we are hoping that maybe at some point, one of the town board members would become a little bit more involved and be a liaison, but we're kind of here to help create that.
And we also meet every Wednesday, the first Wednesday of every month at the school at 10, open to the public. So if anybody's interested, here at 10. Here at 10.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
So with the clean energy communities, we're almost ready to put in for the first grant, which will be, the grant, right? For $5,000.
Yeah.
And then there's a DEC one that we're getting close on too. So again, just trying to promote what we're doing and let other people know that if they put in some heat smart appliances, not appliances,
Energy system, it could be a hot water heater, it could be a furnace, like I have a furnace. And one of the things,
boilers, all
Yeah,
that kind of
yeah.
stuff, that all would play into the grant too, where we could get additional money.
and that money goes to the town.
Right.
So we'd love to be able to, you know, we're working to try to get this going so that the town can get this money to maybe make some improvements, you know, for the town, whether it's salt mitigation and going into the water or whatever it is. It could be energy related, but we're trying to do this for our community, and we'd love for more people to become involved with it.
Okay.
Phil? Phil, you've done that very well.
Anybody else? Okay.
I got a couple
Oh,
of
Julie does. Okay.
I do have a question about the, Georgia taking over the interim. Should I wait till that comes up and then, or should I ask my questions now?
Ask your questions now.
Okay, so, how does that process work? I guess my question, and I have absolutely no problem with Georgia taking this over. I guess I'm just more curious about the process. I tried to find out what the qualifications are to be a justice, and I'm wondering, is the interim, whoever it ends up being, if it's Georgia or if it's someone else, are they in until the next election period? Who's gonna take over the clerk position? And is it something that has to be brought before or notified of the Board of Elections?
Yes to your last question.
Okay.
The way it works is for any elected official in the town, doesn't really matter which position it is. If someone vacates the position midterm, which Tim just got reelected, so he vacated midterm, the town board appoints that person, and you might have to correct me because I'm not 100% sure, but because you said the justice was different. But normally the way it works is that you appoint for 1 year that position. And then the person's got to run that following November. Or, and anybody else can run for that position. But you said justices were different.
Justices are, they don't finish somebody's term.
They don't finish
They
somebody's term.
get a new term.
So
And then,
what would happen is if we were to put her in,
Mhm.
she would only be able to serve that term until 1 year. And then in November, there'll be another election, and she and whoever, if somebody else wanted to run, would run for that position.
Okay.
Would that not throw our cycle off of every 2 years, the judges?
It
Matter.
seems like they would make it just to satisfy the rest of that term,
Right.
and then it gets it back on the same thing.
well,
Yes.
so if we appoint her, say now.
Yes,
She goes till next year,
correct.
and she runs for whoever runs for a 4-year term.
Well, then it screws up the thing. She could only run for the 3 and then it'll come back out even,
Not on
but
judges,
not on judges.
on everybody else.
So it'll always be off then.
Yeah.
If, in that case. Qualifications for judge, if anybody in town wanted to run for judge, you don't have to have any knowledge ahead. If you happen to be an attorney or I don't know, police officer, I think, or involved in that kind of thing, and you have schooling, you don't have to go right away to schooling. If you have no schooling, only an attorney,
Yep.
only attorney. So, but if you don't have that, you have to go to school before you actually become a judge. So Georgia just happens to have been clerking here. I was talking to her today since 1995, believe it or not. And so, but she doesn't have that schooling. So in order we would appoint her, then she has to go to school. And the school is in April. And then once she passes the school, then she can start the justice thing. But we have to appoint her first so that we can send her to school.
And then, so who will take over her clerk position?
Well, that's gonna be up to them to decide who they want.
Oh, okay.
Before, each judge has its own clerk, and that could be that way. Or the judges could decide that they want the one clerk for the both of them. We were just talking about this. And that kind of makes sense in a way because it helps to bring things together. But they would give us names and then we would appoint somebody.
Gotcha.
That's probably not gonna happen tonight.
Yeah.
But it's gonna happen in the next couple months.
Okay. I just, for the record, I think she's a great person for the job,
Yep.
being in the position she's had since 1990.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. I was surprised how long she's been,
Yeah.
because I started as a town councilman in 94. So I know how long ago that was.
Yeah. All right, next, sorry, got a
Yep.
couple of things.
Sure.
The road that is behind Gate, is it Gady Lane?
Gaiety
that
Lane.
your store is on.
Yes,
Frank and all that. All right, so I was in contact with a guy from the DOT about a different issue, and since I'm friends with Stephen and Carrie, so I thought, since I have this guy's attention, I wanted to ask him. He's a regional traffic engineer out of Utica.
okay,
Supposedly he covers our area. I wanted to ask him about that situation, considering so many businesses are being flooded. So, I got some feedback from him, but before that, I wanted to know, the town maintains that road, is that correct?
No.
Because it
the
doesn't,
town doesn't maintain that road.
well, during snowmobile season it does, right?
During snowmobile season, we groom that road.
Okay,
Yes, but we have permission from the landowner to use that as a snowmobile trail.
okay,
We don't maintain the road.
gotcha.
We have.
Bad word.
The damage we've caused.
Yeah, if there's a hole because of what we did, we'll fix that, right? Yeah,
Right, so you might have seen the town fixing it, but. that's
Yeah.
why, Because it gets.
Which makes sense if the snowmobilers are destroying it.
So that's why you probably have seen the town doing.
So this guy said, his name is Michael Gallerini, I don't know. He says, he went back and forth with a lot of pictures and Google Maps, and he said, because when Stephen brought it to the board, it was told that they needed to contact the DOT because there was nothing that the town can do. So the DOT has said that it's not a state road, so they're not going to do anything about it.
right,
It's not a town road, so you guys are not, this is even coming from the DOT, you're not
Right.
responsible for it.
right.
And this really isn't my argument, so I've encouraged the people that it's affecting the most to come here, and I guess that's on them.
Hmm.
But I would just like to state, I feel like, especially considering it's a road that town uses to better its business as far as snowmobile business, and it's affecting so many different business members, I feel like the town should help resolve this situation for the people. And I mean, you're one of them. The stories that I've heard as far as the flooding and the damage and the water getting into hot water tanks and blowing up, and the damage that's being caused and the amount that these people are having to pay just doesn't seem right to me, that the town can't step in and at the very least assist with some sort of solution, rather than pass it off to the DOT, who's now passed it back off to us, and the town can't do anything. What are these people supposed to do?
Well, I think the reason I think that John gave the idea about the DOT is because it affects their road. The water's coming out onto 28 and causing an issue in front of Burkhardt Evans, and so that's that water. So I thought that's where he was looking at that angle.
Yeah, what
It-
they had to say was and in regards to that, he said that they've created the proper drainage. He gave me a list of all the things that the state has supposedly done that makes this so it's not their problem,
Right, well, they're saying that they've done everything they can do with the water they got coming at them.
Right,
They're not gonna go into somebody else's property and deal with a water problem,
right,
which is the same problem that we're gonna have theoretically, if we even wanted to do something, is we're going on somebody else's property to deal with a problem.
but, I mean, if they're on board for that, isn't there a way to work together to help
Well,
this problem?
I don't really see how. That road is blocked most of the year.
Mhm.
And so we don't even have access or ability to use it when we really need it. I mean, we use it for snowmobiling, so that's probably where we need it the most, okay? But the rest of the time, you can't even get through there,
Right,
so that the landowners are the ones there that have the issue.
yeah,
Now, if they came, I guess if they came and they had a plan and, we could try to assist them with a grant or something, I don't know.
Hmm.
But as far as us going in and redoing the road, that would be like if you owned, somebody came in and redid your driveway for you because your neighbor's getting water from your property. Do you know what I'm saying?
I do.
Yeah.
I think you would have less skin in the game if the town wasn't benefiting from that road. Because what if they dug their heels in and said, you know what, you're not gonna use this road for snowmobiling?
Well, they very well could do that. I mean, they've done that already for summer. They've taken it away for summer.
Right.
You're right.
But I
Yeah.
mean, we don't want it to get to that point.
No,
And it would be great if they could give it back to us in the summer. I used to cut through there all the time. But what they've got set up now, I highly doubt them giving that up, tables and whatnot. I just, like I said, that I'm just gonna give my 2 cents on that. This is not my fight.
Yep,
So I'm
yep.
not going to spend a lot of time on it. I just feel like it wouldn't bother me as a citizen and a taxpayer if we gave money to help a situation like that, considering how many businesses are being affected by a situation that's really out of their control. And I don't know. So I just wanted to say that.
okay,
Where is that water coming from?
coming off the mountain.
Private property.
Yeah, it's coming off the mountain and it comes down there.
It's all
And,
ledge.
and as far as, not that this matters to anything, but I'll throw it in there. As far as my end over there where Ace Hardware and I am, I've had water in the back like this coming off that mountain. I've never had a drop of water in my building. It all goes right into the ground. And so when they built it, whatever they did, they made it work.
Yeah,
You know, unfortunately, it doesn't work so well for the people on the other side.
right.
Yeah.
Okay, last question or issue or whatever. So I guess, I sat in on a few of the budget meetings and from what I understood, that everybody across the board on the town was getting a 7.5% raise. So now there's been a lot of discussion around town that the highway department has received a 15% raise. So I guess, I'm gonna start by asking if that's true. And I wanna, before you answer that, I just wanna say that this has absolutely nothing to do with the highway department themselves. I've heard the scuttlebutt of why it may have happened. I'm thrilled that that one employee is still on. I value the work that the highway department does. They work hard. I have no problem with their salary. This is not about that at all. But I would like to know, did they end up, after the budget was passed, getting a 15% raise instead of a 7.5?
Okay, well, number one, I don't know much about what you're talking about. But what I can tell you is that in the town budget, 7.2% was across the board raise for all the employees. Within each job description, we have a chart. And we'll pick labor for the parks. Okay, there's a starting salary, there's a cap. And a mid, and there's everything in between. Okay, so when you hire somebody, if they're green, you might start at the bottom. If they're experienced, you might start somewhere in the middle. But it's up to the department head to keep within those parameters. That doesn't mean 7.2, that means the 7.2 is above. So if they were making $10 an hour, now they're gonna get a 7.2. They're still within that range. If they're at the low end of the range, their department head may choose to move them up further for whatever reason. They're a good employee, you want to keep them, whatever, as long as they stay within that range.
Well,
So-
is that what happened?
I'm assuming that's what happened,
So,
but I don't have the exact numbers and I don't know. Okay, but I'm telling you that that's a scenario that could have happened.
so are you saying that in the budget, there's a cushion
Yep.
of extra money that say they decide they want to give a raise throughout the year?
In the budget, we have delegated enough money to cover a little bit extra, sure. Because you don't know, you may lose a person, you're gonna hire a person, now they're an MEO, and before they were a laborer. So you gotta have a little bit of it. It's not tight.
Sure, I
Because
understand that.
something could happen in the middle of the year. I mean, so yes, there is a cushion in the
Okay.
salaries.
But what is being told around town is that because one employee was going to leave and they didn't want him to, which I understood, they matched the offer that he had at a different company.
Okay,
And in order to be fair to the other employees, they all got a same percentage raise. That's different than what you were talking about.
It is, and I don't know if that happened, because if that happened, I don't know it. I'm telling you,
Okay,
Yeah.
so who makes those decisions?
the highway department is responsible for their department.
And that.
So Sean, that's Sean's department.
Okay,
Now, I'm sure he's had discussion with John about whatever happened up there. I don't know. But,
John sat down and
but he is the department head.
okay,
He's making decisions for his men and his employee.
John, me and John sat down and we figured out, you know, once we kept the employee,
mhm,
then everybody else first.
right,
It's right there at your throat, so to say.
yeah,
So you, and plus, you know, it's time that we increase wage for, there's no doubt.
okay.
you know.
And, but you kept them within the parameters, I'm
Yes,
hoping.
Work within that chart, yeah.
Yeah.
We have a grade and salary scale.
Yes, yes.
So you're saying that there was enough cushion in the budget that you were able to double everybody's cost,
Well, we didn't double their pay.
not double their
Yeah,
pay,
yeah.
not double, everybody was supposed to get 7.5.
Yes.
They ended up with about 15. There was enough money in there to cushion that so that,
Well, John's the budget officer. He's not here. I'm saying that if he went along with this, that there's enough money there.
and it's nothing that has, because it's like, it's nothing that has to be brought out to the public. It's,
No,
well, so it feels misleading when we sit here and we're told that everybody's gonna get a 7.5% raise. And then less than a month later, everybody has a 15% raise.
well, number one, everyone didn't. But
At the highway
the 7.2 was the across the board raise for all employees.
Right,
That doesn't mean that somebody couldn't get more than that. That's just the across the board.
That was the cost
Salary.
of living. That
That's the
was-
cost of living raise. So we're talking about two different things. We're talking about cost of living.
yeah,
We're talking about everyday wage.
okay,
And the everyday wage went up.
okay.
The cost of living went up too, but you know, it's two different things.
So, okay, so you're saying that it doesn't have to be brought to the public
No,
and it doesn't even have to be brought to you guys.
the highway department is a different entity, so
Okay.
it goes to him. If it was anybody else, a town employee, it's gotta come to us.
Okay,
Well, it goes to the department head and then it comes to us.
so I guess my next question is, how is that fair to the other town employees? That didn't receive this extra, whatever.
I guess I'm not sure what you want me to say, but I would say that if anybody's not happy with their pay, they should talk to their supervisor. And then their supervisor should see where we're going.
Yeah.
You know, that's all I can say. I mean, if somebody else doesn't like what happened, they need to go to their supervisor, and then if the supervisor agrees with them or whatever and comes to the board or comes to John or whatever. You know, that's the way that works.
In past years, when there was no extra raises given or whatever, what happens to that extra cushion money?
Everything at the end of the year, when we tie out the end of the year budget, everything that is not spent goes back to the bottom line.
Okay,
So if are you over in a category and you're under in another category, you might have to take from the one and put in the other.
Hmm,
At the end of the year, and what, I don't think we're doing, we're not doing transfers tonight, are we? Do we have any transfers? So it's usually at the end of the year, there's, you know, this account was low because we had to pay the attorney more money, so we took it out of this one, which we had extra, and we put it over here. We have these transfers.
okay,
Once that's completed and the end of the year is done, whatever's left goes to the bottom line. A portion of that goes against the new budget.
okay,
So the new budget, so we decide when we're doing the budget that $100,000 of the money we're gonna have left that we've planned is gonna go against the new budget.
okay,
The rest of it just goes to the bottom line.
okay,
Okay, so that's all figured in, but you don't keep money from one year to the next. It all either has to be paid out or goes to the bottom line,
okay,
or goes to the new budget.
okay. Makes sense. Thanks for answering all my questions.
Okay. Good. All right, so, let's see, no other public comment, right? Communications. He's got down here, the work on the tower site is on hold for the winter. Equipment sourcing continues, so not a lot, they did get a lot done, but I guess they're on hold now until spring. Planning board. We talked about this already, the proposed short-term rental, and any public comments that want to be. So now let's go to assessors codes, parks and buildings. Amy, got anything for us?
Yes, I gave you all a piece of paper about the fire department exemption.
Yes,
And, there's a lot of questions with it still.
okay. Yeah, I think we're gonna have, I talked to John about it and I don't know if I talked to Andrew about it yet or not, but I think that John suggested that we look and see what other towns have passed a local law. So maybe we can copy what they've done to try to figure out what the parameters of what we're gonna do is. You know, I mean, there's a general, so what's happening here is the state passed a law that says that a town can pass a local law giving a fire and EMS person a break on their property taxes if they serve for so many years as a fire and EMS person.
2 years.
2 years is what they have in their thing. We could set the print, how, you know, the fire department's gonna have to keep track of those, they give the names to Amy, then she puts them into the thing, and then they get a portion of their property taxes reduced. I think it's a great idea. I think you have a hard time getting volunteers if we can keep those roles and keep people going. I think it's something we really need to pursue.
It's an application.
Okay,
The thing with, if you have your active guys and you wanted to get them in this now, I have to have it in by March 1st.
okay.
If the exemption isn't passed by.
By March 1st, then we'll be having another year, but we have time, right?
Then you have to wait another year.
Okay,
And most of them are doing the 10% of the assessed value. It really, Star is more really.
yeah.
In most cases,
hmm
and, enhanced.
But they would get both, right?
Yes. they
Yeah,
get both.
Yeah.
But,
And in order to do it before March 1st, if we were under that deadline, we would have to, at the February meeting, we'd have to, I don't think we got enough time. To be real honest with you, because we need so many days from the public hearing to adopt the law, and we need so much time before the public hearing. So,
I think you're gonna wanna talk to the legal team.
yes, yeah.
And the other thing is, if they miss the credit this year.
Yep.
Which it sounds like we probably are going to.
Yep,
They can still get a $200 credit, single person, or a $400 credit if it's a joint filing. Where both are firefighters or EMTs or.
on their property.
Yes.
Okay, because
On their.
that's always been there. That's always been
Well, it
there.
was only 100.
But I.
Yeah.
200.
Oh, it's up to
200
200?
for
Yeah.
400 for married.
Yeah,
So, but I wanted to remind people that if they don't get, if
Yeah.
they don't get this,
Yeah.
done, they still have that option
Yeah.
for this year.
I think we would have had to have already had it, because February is a short month, and so, and you need the time in between.
Legal would be several months of its own.
Well,
And then you need the advertising window to boot.
Yeah.
You add that 2 weeks,
right,
you won't make it.
later on here, we're gonna be getting into something, we're gonna do a different local law tonight. And this is on the fast track, and it's gonna take until the middle of February to do it, so I don't see this other one happening that fast, but maybe we can look into it.
The Association of Towns might even have a example or a template of, what we could do.
So,
And John, the only other thing I had was John completed his third course right before Christmas and also received 100.
nice,
He's got 3 to go.
cool, that's super.
And he will be certified.
You're training him well by the sound. of it.
Thank you.
Parks,
Still waiting for the side by side.
okay,
We're back ordered on the tracks. They tell me any day. So hopefully that comes soon, but haven't had much need for it. We did have some snow earlier on in December and I was able to get out and groom the ski trails with our snowmobile, so haven't really missed a beat there. So we're just waiting for more snow, waiting for some colder temperatures to get that ice frozen.
Mhm.
It's looking pretty good right now. Got about an inch of ice with 3 or 4 inches of water underneath it. So we just need some colder weather to get it solid.
Yeah,
But we've been keeping busy fixing benches, picnic tables, painting, doing odd jobs, so. Yeah, we just hoping for snow.
alrighty. All right, information, anything for us?
Everything's in my report.
Okay. Nothing highlighted?
I mean, we had some great things like the shop with the cop,
Mhm.
Ria Bells, champagne bus, all good things.
Nice, good, good. That was well received. I take it from what I've seen.
All three of those. things.
Yeah. Perfect. Perfect. All right, highway department.
We plowed and sanded roads, cleared sidewalks and parking lots, hauled garbage and recyclables. Been cleaning up the shop and working on our trucks and equipment, so when it does snow again, we're ready. Moved some snow from around town to make room for more. Put snow on the snowmobile trail, going up the hill towards the boat launch. Cleared some down trees on Uncas Road, brought our grader back to the shop from Uncas Road. Put some new tires on the front of the roll-off truck, fixed the washout up on the Uncas Road. Got our Western Star worked on the DEF system. Put a new chain in the Western Star, and that's pretty much it for that. Coming up, we're hoping to plow and sand roads, put sidewalks and parking lots. We're still waiting for the arrival of our new snow pusher for the skid steer. And if the weather keeps not giving us snow, I plan on taking the excavator and going brush cutting on our town roads. And we're gonna pick away at projects from around the shop. I also have my 284 form, which is our agreement.
Okay,
I need both copies signed
and we already did the motion on that, right?
on the 284.
Yeah,
No,
no, we didn't yet, okay. So, let's do that. Cause I know we talked about it last month.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So this form is basically what this is the highway department has to do this per highway law every year. It gives his budgeted items, the not to exceed amounts, what he's gonna do with the money is all in here, you know, like Parkhurst Road and, you know, what he decided that he's gonna do with this money that he's getting. And I don't know how far we have to go with all this, but we're gonna need a motion to pass this. And all these numbers are within the budget that we've already passed. And then we each have to sign it. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Where's that go?
The back page.
Yeah, just one signature line, right there.
Yeah,
Accept
probably
the
just,
proposal.
yeah, probably just.
So we all squeeze into one line. Okay,
Thought there was a spot for each councilman and supervisor.
that's what I thought.
There used to be, I was gonna say. there used
Maybe I went too far.
It's on the third page, I think.
Super big, yeah, councilman, town.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I went to the end. There's a signature thing at the end too. Okay. All right. So I need a motion to go into this agreement with the highway department for 2023 budget year for their budgeted items and their repairs.
I'll move that
Dan,
for contract.
and I need a second.
Second.
John, all in favor?
Aye.
So carried. Okay, now we're gonna, I'll sign this. Who do I sign under supervisor? Yes, I am.
There you go.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. And then he gets one and we get one, is that the deal?
No,
Or we get-
no, county gets one.
Bonnie gets one to
One.
file.
Yeah.
County
County
highway
gets-
superintendent.
Okay.
to file.
All right. There we go. Anything else?
Yes, I wasn't here for the meeting where the underground propane tank was discussed. And I don't remember, was there talk, anybody remember of trading in our 2,000 gallon tanks?
There was
There
talk of
was,
that.
okay.
Yeah.
I
Was I here for that meeting or was I asleep?
You must have been asleep. Yeah, we talked about it.
When was that?
It was like back in September.
And it was all.
It was probably in August and I wasn't here.
I believe we
September.
Yeah, they
Right.
approved it.
I just couldn't remember. I just wanted to make sure before we did it.
Yeah.
That was all good, that we were trading.
We own- we're supposed to own the new underground tank.
Yes,
Right,
Right.
yeah.
correct,
That was part of the deal.
yes.
Right.
Awesome. That's all I
Okay.
have for highway.
That's all you have for highway?
Yes, sir.
Transfer.
Transfer station is open 4 days a week, from 8 AM to 11:45. Then 1 PM to 6:45 PM, closed on Tuesday, Wednesday, and I have put Thursday, Friday. Closed from 12 to 1 daily for lunch. Our new 30-yard open top bin arrived yesterday. Place is clean and orderly, going smooth with the new recycling, still in a learning curve. And we have some small adjustments that we know we need to make. And I know that there's gonna have to be different bins used in there for the summertime. For like the mixed plastics and stuff like that, but we're gonna work on that on the county. And see what we can make work.
You know, there'll be large volume.
Yep,
Yeah, I was just gonna say, you probably can't really tell too much yet, but I'd be interested to know how many more trips we're gonna have to make. Because we're not crushing the stuff.
right.
I mean, it's gonna probably double, if not more.
But at least it's just the Indian Lake that we're taking it. I think we need bigger bins
Yeah,
to make it work better.
It's not that heavy.
Those are too small.
Can we haul 40s on this truck?
Yeah, there'd be taller bin, yeah.
Right. We could.
All of it, not
We
longer,
want
right?
The county to buy it. We want the county to buy the bins because they're responsible for the recycling.
yeah, that's perfect.
Cause they're gonna cost more. than we just-
But, yeah, and yeah, so the more we can get on there, the better it would be.
Oh, absolutely.
Cause you're obviously gonna have, increase your truck.
But it's gonna be harder to load them, so we're. gonna change.
Well,
something.
unless they have doors on the side. Or, you know, you'd have to have doors on the side and
Or you gotta build a platform.
we have to build a platform and.
Yeah.
We're getting a lot of glass in these, which there's not supposed to be any glass. People are just being helpful. They probably really don't know. What's going on 100%.
Yeah, well, when you say all in one, that's what they're doing. I mean,
What you ask for, you
yeah,
get it.
yeah.
Put the stuff in the container so that there's no glass mixed in it, you know what I mean?
It's a lot of weight,
So, and then the glass has its own bin, so.
right?
It's just a learning curve. I mean,
Yeah,
it's all,
yeah.
new. It's kind of new that. this
Yep,
is gonna-
yep. No, there's gonna be some issues.
But that's all I have for,
Okay.
transportation.
All right, town clerk's report.
I have a couple of things, I don't know if it's too late, I forgot to ask Chip today or yesterday when I saw him, whenever I saw him, about this, what did we decide on the,
Oh, that engine
warranty,
extension warranty.
thank you.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
you know, I was looking at emails today and I said, "Oh, we ever talk
Never
about
talked
this?"
about it, no,
Okay,
so, I mean, it's probably not too late, I mean, we really haven't put any significant time on the machine.
Well,
what?
he said we had a long, we had a time frame. We
Okay.
could still do it, from what I
Okay.
remember.
Well, it's an extended warranty, correct?
Yes,
Yeah.
So we have a current warranty.
right, yeah.
Yeah.
It may be as much as a year.
Absolutely.
So
It
you
is-
just gotta buy that before you go to the next. So we're good. Put that
Okay.
off the side.
All right, it's off to the side again. We'll just keep it in my file. And then, I guess the only thing I have is the organizational and procurement passage.
Yeah, let's do that now. So this being the organizational meeting, normally we have an organization meeting right at the beginning of the year. We have some housekeeping to do with a bunch of resolutions to help run the town. So I don't know, what we normally do is I'll read through all of these. If anybody has got any questions about them, we can hold one off or we'll pass them all together. There may be one or two that we're gonna be holding off here. I don't know exactly. So let me read these. Resolved, the superintendent of highways is authorized to purchase equipment during the 2023 year without prior approval of the town board in the amount not to exceed $2,500 per highway section law 142 subdivision 1A. A yearly agreement between the highway superintendent and the supervisor will also be signed giving approval. All other documents or all other departments are to seek board approval for any equipment purchase exceeding $500. Number two, resolve the salary of all elected and appointed officials and employees as to the amounts respectively specified on the notice of public hearing upon the preliminary budget 2013 are fixed, and that salaries are paid monthly and biweekly. So I'm going to stop for a second, Julie. Anybody that's an elected official has a budgeted amount that cannot be changed. Well, I guess it can be changed, but they have to do a special resolution and there's a whole bunch of work involved. So those salaries are posted and then that's what they'll be and they cannot change.
Okay.
But employees are different.
Okay.
So, number three, resolve, the town offices and employees shall be compensated for the use of their vehicles in the performance of their duties as defined in Public Sector HR Employee Handbook, Section 507, at the rate of 62.5 cents per mile based on the IRS rate as of 1/1/2023. And so you check that, and that's what that is. If that changes during the year, we can amend that resolution if it changes. Resolved, Amy Townsend is appointed Deputy Tax Collector or Deputy Town Clerk and Deputy Tax Collector for 2023. Resolved, Yvonne Lutz is appointed Registrar of Vital Statistics, Amy Townsend, Deputy Registrar. Resolved, dues are paid to the Association of Towns, Adirondack Association of Towns and Villages, Hamilton County Magistrates Association, New York State Magistrates Court Clerks Association, Chief of Police Association, New York State Town Clerks Association, Tri-County Clerks Association, Highway Superintendent Association, Assessors Association, New York State Codes Association, New York State Planning Federation, Adirondack North Superintendents Association, and New York Rural Waters Association. Number seven, resolve, the town department heads will present bills to the supervising bookkeeper prior to 1 p.m. on the first Thursday before the second Tuesday of each month. The bills will be available for inspection before the second Tuesday of each month. Number eight, resolve. The official banks of the town of Inlet are Community Bank, Old Forge, New York, and Adirondack Bank, Old Forge, New York. The banks are designated for deposits and transactions of all monies of the town of Inlet offices. Town Law 64, Subdivision 1, Supervisor John Fry, Town Clerk Yvonne Lutz are designated signers of these accounts. Number nine, resolved, the supervisor is authorized to invest surplus money in certificates of deposit, general municipal law, section 11. 10, resolved, the town delegates to the Association of Towns meetings in February are. So,
That was the other thing I was gonna bring up.
yeah, is there any, buddy going to the Association of Towns in February? I will not be going.
Amy and I may go,
Okay,
but I haven't
You
talked to
haven't-
anybody else.
you haven't talked to Amy, but no.
No, I- Talked.
Yeah.
But I haven't talked to anybody else to see who else wants to go.
Okay, so we can either hold this off, we can put your names in there, we can always change. Is there anybody on the board that has any thoughts about it?
I will not be able to.
Yeah.
I'm,
So. We don't know where John is.
Right, we don't know
So,
about John.
so,
You
what-
wanna hold it?
Put it on hold and-
we can hold it. And,
Because part of the problem was I was going to see what's available to also talk to Georgia and other people that might have some interest in the classes. That's how Amy got interested. There's quite a few classes she can take.
okay, all right, we'll hold it off. 11, resolve, the town board establishes the office of Deputy of Highway, Town Law 32, Subdivision 1, as appointed by the Superintendent of Highways. The appointment for 2023 is Donald Townsend. Good?
Yep.
12, resolve, the town board approves a bookkeeper to the Superintendent of Highways as appointed by him. The appointment 2023, Sean Hansen. Yep. Resolved, number 13 is resolved. All elected and appointed officials are authorized to attend any mandated schools or seminars pertaining to their job as job responsibilities allow. All actual and necessary expenses will be proper town charges provided by per board approval as been given. General Municipal Law, Section 77B. 14, resolve. The town board authorizes the payment in advance of the audit of claims of the following: National Grid, Frontier, propane contracts, Spectrum, fuel and gas contracts, United States Post Office, Postal Service, bond anticipation notes, New York State retirement payments, Blue Cross, Excelis insurance contracts that the town has entered into and completed. 15, resolve. The town board is required to review and adopt a procurement policy annually, and this has done so far as calendar
So
of
we're gonna- we
twenty
should have probably
twenty-three.
Done that first.
So, yeah, so we need to, before we do this, I guess we do the procurement policy first. For some strange reason, we can't do it in here. I don't understand why.
Yeah,
So we'll just X that.
yeah.
16, resolved, the supervisor appoints a town historian to collect and preserve material related to the town and to work with the state and county historian to perform historic work recommended by the town. Blank is appointed for the calendar year 2023. Do we have a blank? All right, so that one's gonna get,
For a couple of years.
Yeah.
okay, it's been you for a couple of years?
No, been blank.
Oh, it's been blank for a couple of years. Okay, so that one's gonna, we're gonna hold that one too.
I think
Buddy Haynes.
Charles-
Letty Haynes used to be it,
Right, didn't Charles,
and I don't know why Charles wouldn't want to be it, but
he showed interest.
we should really ask before we do something.
Yes.
17 resolved that Tony Sagi shall provide housing and maintenance for all cats and dogs collected by the town of Inlet. The agreement is in the sum of $1,000 for the period of 12 months from January to December. And be it further resolved that blank will be Inlet's town dog control of 2023 at the sum of blank. All right, we got some blanks for that?
That was my email earlier that, I
Yes,
don't know if John's talked to Richard, what's his name?
the one that did it last year.
No,
No,
didn't do it last year. Lisa Bennett did, and then
okay,
she left us mid-year.
okay,
And the way that we put our foot down and said, you can't leave mid-year, you've been paid for the year, you are our dog control.
oh, yeah,
for
okay.
the year.
and, but,
Now we're in a predicament,
Now we're-
now we need,
okay, so we're gonna hold that one too.
yes.
Okay. 18 resolved, the town board shall meet on the second Tuesday of every month in the town meeting room at 7:30 with bill review starting at 7. 19 resolved, the town board has reviewed and adopted the emergency management plan for 2023. That's here someplace.
Mhm.
Needs work, but we're gonna pass it and we're gonna
Okay.
make some changes. 20, resolved, the supervisor is authorized to sign a contract with public sector HR consulting for 2023 in the amount of $2,400 to be paid quarterly. 21, resolved, the supervisor will distribute the organization resolutions to the department heads at the next meeting, Tuesday, February 7th, 2023. 22, resolved, the town board approves a bookkeeper to the supervisor as appointed by him. Appointment is Yvonne Lutz. 23, resolved, the official newspaper of the town of Inlet is the Adirondack Express, Town Law 64, Subdivision 11. 24, resolved, the town of Inlet shall enter into a reciprocal agreement for police coverage with the town of Webb per agreement of 2007, which automatically renews each year. The agreement is for police coverage, including arrest powers. 25, resolved, the town board established the rental rates for the Adirondack Park cottages for the year 2023. Cottage 1 will be $3,250 a week, and cottages 2 and 3, $2,250 weekly. Now, is that,
The increase.
that's the increase, and did we ever look to see if we're in the ballpark with other people? Or do you feel what that increase was sufficient?
Well, as we discussed, it's kind of hard to go up we were doing as much as we could for this year, remember at budget time?
Incremental, okay, all right.
I mean, we do, I think, kind of need to go up every year a little bit.
Yeah, well, I just think we need to, it's always been kind of our policy to keep things pretty high on our end, so it doesn't affect other people that are trying to rent. So if everybody thinks that that's good, then that's where we're going. All right, all right, so that's our resolutions. So I need a motion to pass all of these resolutions except number 10, number 16, number 17. That's it. I have a motion.
I'll offer that motion.
Tim, second, John. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, so carried. Okay, we're gonna hold those three. Now, whoops, we didn't do what we were supposed to do, and that's the procurement policy. We need to adopt the procurement policy for 2023. You want to read that?
You want to read the whole thing?
Well,
Definitely.
can you break down what the
Um,
parameters are? You don't need to read the whole thing, just
Okay.
what the parameters are.
So basically what it's saying is if a department has a purchase that they'd like to make between $250 and $3,000, they need 2 verbal quotes or written fax quotations. If they're gonna go 3,000 to 10,000, they need 3 written faxed requests. 3 written fax quotations or responses to written requests. However, Public Works, now this is the other thing I didn't understand. Guess I was gonna ask you that. It doesn't look like Public Works is any different. And they should be. Oh, no, I see. Okay. So Public Works, they have a little bit higher threshold, like 7 to 9, 19,999. They need 3 written fax quotations. But 1,000, why would their amount be lower there?
All right.
That's what I was wondering.
So-
So they're saying that
Between
1,000 and 7,000, they need 2 written facts. But however, regular departments only need this amount,
more than 3,000.
Yeah.
This is
more than 1,000. Doesn't make sense. Should be the other way around, but I'm just copying the way it was.
Yeah. All right, so for 250 to 3,000, you need 2 verbal quotes or written.
Right.
3,000 to 10, you need 3 written. And where's greater than that?
Yeah, like highway should be higher, should be almost the other way around. Because highway shouldn't have as low of a threshold as the regular department.
Well, highway doesn't, highway's got a $2,500 threshold according to this.
Mhm.
So they don't need,
Well, no, they still need to fulfill these procurement things.
yes, okay,
But they don't need town board approval. for
correct. They
anything.
don't need town board approval, but they need to back it up with 2 verbal quotes or written fax quotes. And so the difference here is that this is verbal. These have to be written.
That's the
Okay,
difference.
Right, but
Yeah.
what I'm saying is why are the regular departments have a lower amount than the higher departments? I mean, than Public Works, than highway. You know what I'm saying?
Things cost more.
Right. Which
Yeah.
means they should have a higher amount.
yeah, this is actually,
It
kind
goes
of-
backwards.
it's kind of like weird because, the, I don't even know why they'd be different, really. Cause you really, under 3,000, both of them should be, in my opinion, under 3,000, you need 2 verbal or written quotes. Then over that, you're gonna need 3 written. You need,
Mhm.
and so I don't know why we have this the way it
The way it
is.
is. I know, that's why I was gonna question it.
Why don't
And
we-
then can we change, can we
Well,
make
our-
it the way we want it to make it?
It's our procurement policy, but it does have to do with section 104B of the general municipal law, so.
That means that we have to set a procurement, we have to.
Well,
set a
that just means we have to set it.
Yeah.
Should be the same everywhere, shouldn't it?
I'd be kind of uniform for sure.
I
Yeah,
mean, it could be uniform, but, so you want me to just put it all?
I think let's do it all this way.
Okay, the first way.
I like this the best. I mean, look at that. I think that under $1,000, you can get verbals.
Okay.
But over $1,000, you should have a piece of paper saying what the quote was, you know?
And I think that's what we've always
For
adhered to.
3,000, you only need 2 quotes. Over 3,000, you need 3.
Three, but they gotta be written on a piece of paper,
Right, yeah,
not just, you know, I called so-and-so and they said.
Right, right. But
you know,
under 1,000.
But under 1,000, they could just call 2 people and say, yeah,
Take the
so-and-so
verbals.
said this, and so-and-so said that.
Okay,
That makes sense.
But I think you just have
Yeah.
it the same on both.
Right.
okay,
Yep,
sounds good to me.
I like it.
Okay, so we're gonna change that,
Mhm.
and then,
So it all agrees.
yeah,
Okay,
and then good purchase that below public, and then on this other page, just so everybody knows, if they're buying something on state bid or cheaper than state bid, they don't need those, because state bid is already there. So, a
competitive,
motion on the procurement policy
as changed.
is changed.
I'll move that.
Dan,
I'll second.
second, Tim, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. So that's those two.
Assuming every department knows how that works now.
Yeah, well, I would assume everybody knows. It's just a good reminder
Yeah.
that, you know, that we just need to have that. So, and their documentation when they're doing something. Okay, so that's done, that's
A
done.
few appointments and your committees.
Oh, yeah. So. Appointments on committees. John Fry is appointed budget officer for 2023, town law, section 102. Herb Schmid is appointed deputy supervisor to preside over the town duties as in the supervisor's absence for 2023. Should have done this thing first thing. Committee chair people. All right, the way this is down here now, and if anybody's got any changes or whatever. Parks, buildings and ski is Townsend Schmid. Highway transfer groomer, Brown Cell Levy. Information office is Levy Townsend.
You're hungry.
Yep, we are. Assessors codes. Police is Schmid, Brown Cell. And sewer plant is Brian Schmid. And do we have to vote on those two?
No. That was all I had.
So
I'm done now.
now let's talk about,
Oh, the disaster plan.
oh yeah, well, the disaster plan, we did pass it.
Okay. all right.
But it needs some updating. I did it a couple of years ago and there's some names and some phone numbers need to be changed. I'll just take it and then I'll bring it to the next meeting and we'll readopt it if we have to or whatever.
Just
But,
with minor revisions.
yeah, it's just minor revisions. It's like, you know, Tim, you know, that there's people in there that are gone and new people are in their place and that kind of thing. So I'll deal with that.
Oh, I see. Yep, okay.
Okay, you see what I mean?
Yep.
All right, so now let's talk about the justice thing. And then we'll talk about this other deal. We talked about it a little bit earlier and, we have a vacancy for our second town justice. And I've talked to Georgia and I guess some others have, and she's willing to take over this position. What it's going to involve for her is when she gets appointed, she's going to have to go to school. She can't do anything. I think we talked about all this earlier. And then she's also going to be doing the clerk position like she was in the interim. And then when we pick a new clerk person, probably in a month or two, as she moves up, then the new clerk person will start to take over. But they really want to get the files under control first, and they don't want to bring somebody in and really mess them up in the beginning. So, I guess I'm gonna need a motion to appoint Georgia Levy as interim town justice.
I'll offer that motion.
Tim, and I'm gonna need a second,
A second.
and John second it. And we're gonna. All in favor? Aye.
Abstain.
Okay, I figured that was gonna happen.
Yep.
I was gonna ask if there was any abstentions, but we're good. Okay. So. That's that. Now, the next thing we gotta talk about. Is. We've been having a problem. With the cell phone communications in the town of Inlet. Not going. To the proper PSAB. And what it does is it screws up the dispatch times for the fire and ambulance. It's been a problem since this tower got in.
And law.
Huh?
And law call.
And law calls. It's all the 911 calls, whoever's calling 911 from your cell phone,
Just Verizon.
just Verizon.
No AT&T problem?
Well, that's because there's no tower yet, but there will be, short.
There is a tower.
They're
There's two
doing,
of them.
they're doing it right in Racket, so I'm assuming they'll do it right here. So if you call 911 and Racket on AT&T, it goes to her.
It is. All right, so there's a possibility they're gonna do it right. We found a way to make sure they're gonna do it right and to change Verizon's system. There's also been talk, and I don't know, you probably know better than me, some of the Spectrum calls
It's all fixed.
is all fixed. So the
At all.
only problem is this tower here.
Just Verizon.
Okay, so, what we're gonna propose tonight, and I don't have the language of it yet. But we're gonna enact a local law. That, and I'm gonna need a motion for that tonight, but I won't have the actual verbiage until it gets back from the attorney. That basically states. That all communications in the town of Inlet, that's generated in the town of Inlet. Will go to Herkimer County PSAP
Through 911.
through 911. So, and. I have a thing from Herkimer County, they did a number of years ago, it's already at the attorney. The attorney is setting it up for us. I'd like to set up a public hearing for the February, I think it's February 2nd is a Thursday. And I was wondering if everybody's good with that day. We could do it Wednesday or Thursday, the 1st or the 2nd. And then we would present that, have the public hearing, and then we'd be able to vote on it at the next board meeting. And then it will become local law, and then they'll have to follow what we're doing. The attorney seems to think that this is the way to go, so.
And he's okay with us moving forward without us reading his verbiage.
Yeah, because we're right now, well, we're basically scheduling the public hearing, then we're gonna bring forward the thing at the public hearing.
That makes me feel better.
And then people have a chance to review it.
Yep.
Then they come back to the board meeting and they can have their comments, then we change it or whatever at that board meeting. So I need a motion.
I'll make it more.
Okay, John,
I'll second it.
and Dan, and the motion is to have a public hearing at 7:30 on February 2nd. To have local law, whatever, number 1 for 2020, whatever, you know, the verbiage of it.
Yeah.
That will, be directed at all communications in Hamilton County or in town of Inlet to go to Herkimer County.
Through 911.
Well, all the communications that are emergency communications will go 911 calls, however you want it, the attorney chooses to say it.
Yeah.
To go to Herkimer County. We've had multiple instances of people, even in the town of Webb, that are pinging off of this tower, that are the dispatch is at least 10 minutes behind because of the bumping around. And 10 minutes is a long time when you have your house on fire or something.
The Snowville accident, actually, they dropped the call from Albany State Police had it.
Mhm.
Hung up on 'em.
They hung up on. 'Em. Beautiful. So yeah, so I guess we're good there, right? All right. It says access to snowmobiles to the town hall parking, improved signage, talked with property owners again about, so we've had a thing, I guess, where people are trying to get to the town hall to get their permits. They're trying to get over to the restaurant over here, and we've always allowed them to come over in town on this part of the paved sidewalk or the plowed sidewalk. But somehow it's really not conveyed very well because it's a huge stop sign there and people don't think they can go through. So I think we've pretty much got it resolved. We're gonna get a couple of signs.
I don't know.
You don't know?
Yeah.
You weren't in all that communication? So we're gonna get 2 signs to say people can come down to there, and then another sign over here that says you need to go back that way, so they're not going up in front of the post office. Adele also did a little map. I see it on Facebook already, kind of guiding that for people so that they understand that they can come in this way, which they could before, but it's not really clear.
Wasn't really clear, and.
Yeah.
They were only coming here to buy a permit, so it wasn't like they were spending a lot of time, so some of them just came in because they knew they were gonna be quick,
Yeah,
didn't care if they were gonna get caught. Those who cared would just leave their sled over parked by Mary's or parked over
Yeah.
by Rich's
yeah,
and walk over. But if they were just buying a permit, they're only here for 10 minutes.
yeah,
When they're parking their sled there to go to Tony Harper's or go to Archie's, they're a little bit longer.
yeah, yeah. So it accesses this parking lot. Now, a few years ago, and there was some discussion about a trail in the back here, and Tim did a lot of research
A lot of work on
to
it.
try to get that to happen. And one landowner just said, no, I don't want to do it.
Never happened.
Yeah, and so he says about revisiting it. I don't know if it's worth revisiting. You know, if the players haven't changed, I don't know that
I
would
could talk to the
change
chief
anything.
again. I mean, I did well with the other, was it 7 people? I can't remember now.
Yeah.
Up through and I did well with the others, but that one party just.
Yeah,
was not-
but I really see no problem with them coming through here.
No, I wonder if we can't, do we have to really blow the sidewalk in front of Mary's? Cause they're not.
Are you opening yourself to a liability with cars parking there and
Well, you could plow up to the sidewalk, just leave the width of a sled, couldn't you? I mean, the sidewalk.
be a mess?
cleared on
They'll have
the
it spread from one to the white line.
You know,
It'll be a
I
mess.
don't know.
yeah, I don't think,
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just tough to get through. I mean, we all know that. It's a brutal area.
yeah, I don't think we need to change that. Yeah, I really don't, you know, I think they're gonna be riding on the sidewalk. If they tear up the sidewalk a little bit, it is what it is. They tear up sidewalks in other spots. Right now, all the way to Eagle Bay, there's pretty much bare sidewalks, so it's gonna happen. It's part of what we do.
I could try to talk to some people on this side and maybe get through Mary's parking lot and not go all the way through. I don't know. I'll try. I'll talk to people. I'll try.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you have a different person here on this end,
Go in there and get, you know,
but whatever. I think we've pretty much solved it.
yeah.
By just getting some signage there so people realize what's going on. All right, the second public comment. Did I spur anybody on for some more questions?
In regards to the resolution you guys talked about with the, how we have a reciprocal agreement with the police department,
Yes,
is there any money exchange?
no.
Okay.
No, basically, what it does is it gives the ability to, if we have we don't have anybody on here and there's a call and they come up here, they're covered. If we go down there, we cover in Eagle Bay. We do a lot of stuff in Eagle Bay when they're down lower in the summer. And so it just covers us insurance wise and legally because we're in 2 different counties.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But there's no, you'd have to figure out, I mean, this would be like craziness. You'd have to figure out how many times we go over there and they come over here and how long they spend here. Yeah, you know, it's just, we help each other out.
It's worked for years. It
Yeah,
works.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
It's worked.
Yes,
With regard to the Verizon law.
yes, yes.
On the Verizon that said if you don't do this, we're gonna do this.
We've been beating our head against the wall.
Hundreds. You know what Verizon's response is going to be to?
Well,
They log and they just say, screw you.
Well, then you can sue
yeah, if they're violating the local law, then we have teeth to go after them. Right now, we've tried going to them. We've tried going to the
Well, I'm aware of that.
fire, I mean, we tried everything. So this seems to me to be the most sense because now we have teeth. I mean, if you're breaking the law, we can go after you, you know? And so, and it's so ridiculous. It is so ridiculous. And they say that it's somebody else's decision and somebody else says that, it's, everybody's going like this. And meanwhile, we're having a problem. So I'm hoping the attorney seems to be encouraged with this. So I think it's a solution. If they don't follow it, we'll deal with that when it comes. Yes, George.
Regarding parking in the inlet,
Yes.
I seen this the other day, I don't know why I didn't think about this before. I don't know who's responsible for like striping or, anything as far as parking. But there's places where you can literally get 2 cars parked. I would think in the future, we should stripe that just as a mental note that somebody should say, I should move up or move back instead of parking right in the middle and taking, 2 spots. I don't know if that would help improve parking if we identify single parking spots, just something to think about.
Yeah, I think it's something.
She's in front of somebody else the other day, it's like,
All the time.
Yeah. I think
Driving
as
school.
far as I'm aware, all of that's got to be run by state DOT, correct? So, because it's a state road, the state has all the say. That's not to say we couldn't go to them and say, we have this plan, and they go, oh, that's a good idea. And, we don't have any money to pay for it, you do it, or whatever. But that might be something to explore a little bit.
yeah, just.
You
don't need to worry until it gets busy. But
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, and I think, and this is definitely still hopefully getting closer to the back burner to the forward burner, but we've talked a lot about this back parking lot over here and expanding that out when you guys had time sometime to start thinking. And I know we were waiting for them to move the light, which they probably haven't moved yet.
No,
So-
and old
so-
Bradley Smith doesn't like hearing me call.
So,
We're not allowed to remove it ourselves, believe me, I just take it out.
yeah, what if it fell down?
I
On
question
its own kind of merit, it just kind of fell down.
it would be nice. Then we're allowed to.
Yeah, so hopefully, I think if I remember correctly, we counted 30 more
We
spaces
thought about 30.
in that area over there, which would make a huge difference in the town for parking. So, I mean, that's where I'm putting my hopes over there in the town summer parking issue. And I think those signs that we did and all that you did, Julie, helped. The upper church parking lot, I saw people up at the community church. At Fern Park I just say it's too far away for people to go anywhere, but the upper church parking lot works up on the hill. And then the upper one over here, people were using it. So every little bit that we can try to do to, I don't know, John wants to encourage everybody to carpool. It's a big ask, but so, all right. Anything else? Yes.
Right where the Woods Inn is. Cars are allowed to park, I mean, almost right where you turn in. It makes it very difficult to come out because you can't see, and like if I've got the van trailer and I'm coming in, it is really difficult to get around whatever car is right there.
Mhm.
It is so close to the driveway itself that you head down that right side.
Didn't that come up?
Well, I don't know, but
Somebody
it's a
asked-
state DOT thing
Yeah,
again.
somebody asked
They
that.
would have to, just like they did in town, where they put X's around Ace for the crosswalk, they would have to do that, but you can't just go out there with a spray can and do it because it's a state road.
How do you address that? I mean, even
DOT.
trucks pulling in there, which they do. pull
Yeah.
in Frequently, and
Sure.
I've had to have deliveries go to Eagle Bay to the parking lot across from the old grocery store, and I've had to go pick things up there because the trucks can't get.
Yeah, I would say that's a state DOT issue. That's somebody you would contact.
Passing that out, you're gonna lose parking spots.
Oh, I realize that. Yeah, no, I get it. I already, those 2 by Ace just drive me crazy. I realize you have to have sight distance for a crosswalk, but
That's a lot of space.
that's a lot of freaking space. Anyway, that's just my personal opinion that irks me. But that would be something that you are in contact with those people, right?
It'd probably come better, I mean, I can make the call, but it had, come from.
You could give her the information to call and then you could make the call and say,
Number to call, absolute name and number, if that'll help.
Yeah, I can give it a try and,
Yeah.
also mention it to Charlie.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I'll I'll hook you up with that.
As long as you're doing it, you might as well consider digital striping.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you wanna ask, about a couple of different things or whatever. So, anything else? Come before the board? All right, so we need a motion for highway,
Pay the bills?
pay the bills, motion for highway.
I'll move it or second it, whatever you got.
Dan, we need a second,
Second it.
and John, all in favor?
All right,
General and sewer. Okay,
I'll second.
second. All in favor? Aye,
All right.
so carried. Anything else? Am I missing anything? Tell me.
I don't think so.
Okay, you sure?
Yeah. Well, no,
All right.
but-
Okay, motion to adjourn. John,
I'll second it.
Dan, all in favor?
All right.
Aye, so carried. Thank you all for coming. I think I did okay.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, John. Did I do okay, John?
Yeah, it's shortest meeting when?
No, this was terrible.
Yeah.
It's almost an hour and a half.